and it can give the appearance of a more narrow chin. So looking at my hand, I think you can tell, whenever you're pulling makeup out of the pot, keep in mind you can always take more, but you can't put it back. So start with a little. A little goes a long way when it comes to the cream makeup, especially if you're not covering a large area of your face with the makeup. So doing the shadow versus doing the foundation, you're going to use more foundation and probably less shadow. All right, so next we're going to go to our cream highlight, and these are in your black base pots, whereas the foundations have that white rim around them. I'm gonna pull up some of my cream highlight, and then I'm just gonna roll it onto my hand. Be careful that if you're using your hand as your palette, you make sure you keep an eye on your hand at all times. Make sure you don't accidentally brush the person next to you or rub the back of your hand on your shirt, unless you're wearing your smock, in which case brush away. So once I get the highlight, again, I'm working the makeup into the brush, maintaining the brush's natural shape. You don't want to push it down into the makeup because you're destroying the usefulness of this tool. I'm going to start with laying my highlight in so that it lives above my shadow. And the highlight is really the thing that causes your shadow to look more like shadow and less like a smudge, because you need the highlight to live next to the dark to give you that dimensional look. So everywhere I put a shadow, a little crooked, that's okay, you can always go back, make a mistake, wipe it off, start again. Everywhere I put a shadow, I'm going to put a highlight to live next to it. Highlighting my brow bone. If you look in your book, you'll see that brow bone shape that I'm highlighting on my eyelids, and this will be more evident on your faces than if you're looking at mine. Alright, so once I get my highlight worked in, I like to go in and blend my highlight with my fingertip or my sponge. And when you meet your shadow with your highlight, make sure that you blend directionally with the line that you've created, right? Because if I start to blend down this way, I'm pushing the shadow down my face, I'm pushing the highlight down my face, I'm changing the shapes that I've laid out so carefully. So you're always blending away from the shadow, and then once you get to the shadow, blend directionally. Again, with those bouncy patting motions. And make sure that you don't forget the highlight on your eyelid, because that's really what's going to help brighten up your eye once you go back after you complete this part of the makeup and line the eyes. You want to make sure that you're not lining a dark hole, that you have some brightness to it. So you might also want to go in here at the corners of the eyes with your highlight, just to add a little bit more life to the eye.
Second day I'm gone away. You see,
Again, if you're using your fingertip, as you're using your finger, you're transferring makeup to your fingers. So same thing as with the brushes. You can have a buildup of makeup on it that makes it so that you're no longer blending, you're just adding more makeup down onto the face. So using a clean finger to blend is going to give you a better result. Make sure that as you blend out the shadow on the nose, and especially the nose because it gets out of control very quickly, that you're limiting the shadow just to where the nose slope ends and meets the cheekbone. Don't carry heavy shadow into the top of the cheekbone because that's when it starts to look not like a contour and like a smudge of dark on the face. So once you've laid in all of your shadows, all of your highlights with your cream makeup, you want to be sure that you set that makeup before you apply any powders or additional details over the face. So if you're going to do a straight makeup over, go ahead and take your translucent face powder, and it will be color matched to the kit that you purchased. Open up the top, take your powder puff sponge, make sure you can see this, and I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of the powder into the sponge, covering the center circle. It's about, I don't know, maybe a silver dollar's worth circumference of powder. Everybody knows what silver dollar is. Alright, so then I'm going to take my puff and I'm going to work the powder by folding it in half, like a taco, and just giving it a little back and forth to really work that powder in there. And then I'm going to take it in again, that same shape, and I'm going to pat the powder into the face in a bit of a rolling motion to set the makeup. You want to be sure that you're not dragging the powder across the face, because then again you're just moving the makeup that you've spent so much time applying to your face. Again, all the way up into the hairline. Pay attention to your ears, down the neck. Just like that. And you should end up with a more matte finish. This is a matte powder. So now that I've finished contouring my face, guys, you're going to go back in with your bronzer just over the cheekbones a little bit, here and here. You don't want to do too much because you don't want to eliminate the highlight and shadow that you've created. You just want to warm the face with the bronzer and go back with your eyeliner and really define the shape of the eyes. For the girls, we're going to add in our eye makeup, our face makeup details to apply the straight makeup over our contoured makeup look. So I'm going to use my neutral palette in my medium brown color, and I'm going to find the outer third of my eye up to the crease, and over the top of the lid. This is why it's important to set the powder makeup, because powder blends better into powder and cream that blends better into cream. You really set me. Do you ever find that one side of your makeup always comes out really well and then the other side not so much? This is my better side. But again, you can always go back, fix any mistakes you made. Alright, so I've contoured the outer corners of my eyes. I'm going to go back in with a lighter lid color. And I'm going to use a nice fluffy tipped brush to really blend the two colors together.